Good morning. Today is Sunday, December 1st, 2024, and this is the weekly Bitcoin price forecast. Looking at where Bitcoin went in the last week and where it could potentially go in the future. So at this point, it's official. November 2024 was the best month in Bitcoin's history. So it went up a total of $26,000 in a month. So that means if you were holding a whole Bitcoin, you're up $26,000. And if you're holding zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, you're up $2,600 at that point. Almost $3,000 you're up in a month, even if you're just holding zero point 0.1 Bitcoin. So at this point, it reached really 100K. It didn't go all the way to 100K. I think it stopped about $200 shy of that. What was the high here? The high that it hit was $99,860. So $140 off of $100,000. So we can, round up. You round up to whatever. Basically it hit 100K. We won't call it official until it's official, but we got there, right? So there's no doubt in my mind that if you had a month like this in November, you're going to see something much greater or similar in December, and then January, February, March, April, and going on. So looking at this, like, again, you've had your major run up. This is, and I called it in May, like, this is a bull flag. It ended up going down for some time, and it shocked down for a little bit, but there was also major support under this area. And then eventually for the last 3 months, really, it just has gone up. So if you bought anywhere from August, like if you bought in August at any point after August 5th, because there was a major crash in early August, and that's what took it down to about 50. If you were consistently buying since then, you should be up tremendously. You should be doing fantastic with your whatever your portfolio looks like. Let me put some on real quick. So these are some of the indicators. So you have the moving average, and then you have, this is the 50 moving average and the 100 moving average. If you look, and I have one more indicator on here that shows the imbalance. So like the space between the wicks of the two different candles, pretty much. So you don't want a ton of imbalance. Imbalance tends to be recovered in some way, shape, or form. So this whole green area is right here. This is imbalance. So you had this candle that ended right here and this candle that started right here. So you could have a candle maybe come back down and kind of clean all this up, and then just continue on to the upside. But the thing that I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen right away, because if you look at it, we're in the middle of a bull run. This is the last bull run. So you see there was imbalance here, imbalance here, imbalance here, imbalance here, imbalance here. This ran all the way up. Half of it got cleaned up within maybe 6 months. The rest of it didn't get cleaned up until almost 2 years later, and it still didn't all get cleaned up all the way down to here. So what I'm saying is this can go up a lot higher before continuing to come down. We've talked about the parabola. If you really look at it, this is a big swoop. There's this big swoop that's going to continue to go up. So you're going to start to see parabolic price action, to where things just start to get bigger and bigger and the moves start to get steeper and steeper. And you go from there. So let's take a look at this. We'll go to the weekly chart, and it's basically telling the same story. This is that bull flag. And then you have this imbalance here, and it ran up. And you had a dip last week, going down to, actually, it was at 90K. What did it go down to? It went down to 90,682. So that's actually a pretty good price to get in. I told one of my people this the other week that in about a year from now, Bitcoin at 100,000 will be considered extremely cheap. So you have an opportunity now to buy something that in a year will be considered extremely cheap, and not for too much longer. We see it's at 97,000 right now, so it's continuing to go up. I don't think that's gonna, and obviously last week was Thanksgiving, so it was a slow week. Now that we're in December, it's the start of a month. We're going into the new year. People are trying to get things on the books before the end of the year. You may see some crazy price action in December. I really do believe that. Especially with between December and January somewhere, and especially with the presidential inaugurations and all that coming up. So looking at with the, what are we looking at here? So you have the charts and the drawings. You broke out the bull flag. This is this red area. So again, one channel. That channel opens up into a wider channel. You have a downward channel for a while. This is 8 months that we're looking at right here in this red area. And then now you hit the, it's expected to have a little pause right here, right? And the reason I say this is because, like, number one, you hit a major psychological level at 100,000, and number two, you hit the top of this channel. So this channel, I've had this in place. You can go back and look at some of my old videos for months and months and months and months and months. I've had this here for a while. So it just hit the top of the channel. Hey, all right, well, let's pause for a second. Let's take a breather, and then we're gonna turn around. You see, it just ran down for a quick second, and all of that supply. This is 1 week. It got eaten up. Like it's moving on to the upside, and I think it's gonna continue. Like this, it may pause here for maybe another week or two at 100K because I think there's a lot of people taking profit. But after that, it will continue on to the upside. That's about as good of a guarantee as I can give, right? Daily chart. As I get down here, we talk about the different. Let's see, what do I want to do with this? Let's change the thickness. Yeah. So this is I talk about this parabolic price action. So you have this trend line right here. And then it bounces, and then the second bounce, you would expect it to come back down here, but it doesn't. It bounces a little higher. So you bounce right here. You come up to, you create another trend line here and here. All right, so on the second move, you would expect it to come back down to here, but it doesn't. I think you'll end up seeing something along the way of here. You see that even the moving average supports, the 50 moving average supports that, the 100 moving average is right now right here. So I think you could see something potentially come down to maybe 87. I don't think that's really realistic, though. I just think it's going to keep going up. This is a highly contested area. It stayed here for about a week. If we're talking about that, you have the trend line right here. You have the moving average that is running up at this point. So I'd say from probably about right here, from maybe right before, what was that, Veterans Day? November 11th, this is when the real takeoff happened. You see this absolute move to the upside, and really all the moving averages are doing is trying to catch up to the price. That's all a moving average ever does. It tries to catch up to the price, and when you see them trending up like this, you should be confident that, hey, we're in some type of actual trend, especially if it's on a higher chart like a daily or a weekly or a monthly. It's like, weekly. Yep, you see they're headed up right here from October, and then monthly. Obviously, it's been headed up for quite some time. It was flat for a good while. But really, since the end of 2023, it's been going up. So that's your moving averages. 4-hour chart, we really don't have to go down this far. As the overall message is it's up, right? What do we have here? So news this week. Non-farm payroll, will that be? Yeah, you have non-farm payroll on Friday. That's really the only thing that I'm looking here at this point. Fed chair speaks, so Jerome Powell. That may be important on December 4th. And that's pretty much it. I guess in terms of things that I think would affect Bitcoin, but non-farm payroll, that's the big news of it this week. So no need to sit here and talk about that for too long. Fear and greed index. So if we look at the fear and greed index, so this is on Bitcoin Magazine Pro. So it's a multi-axis thing. So you have like the color, you have the price, and then you have the time. The fear and greed index, it goes from 0 to 100, all green being 100 absolute greed, and then 0 being absolute fear. So we see that, during a bull market, you start to see much more green. And, when there are big dips, you start to see red as fear comes into the market. And during real bear markets, as we had in 2022, going in 2023 and early 2024, you have these, really 2022 and 2023, you have these periods of fear. And as you climb up slowly, you start to see more and more green. And now we're in the green area. But the thing is, like, most people see like these extreme greed areas, and they're like, oh yeah, well, this is probably the time you should sell. That is incorrect. That's not correct. Let's look at the previous bull runs. You can get very green for months and months and months and months until you start seeing some major dips. And this dip was actually due to, China doing some type of ban on Bitcoin miners. That happened in June. I want to say April or June, somewhere in Q2 of 2021. So that was a major fear period. But then it realized back up. I think we're at a point now where it's almost it's riskier to be anti-crypto right now than it is to be pro-crypto. It's just not the market. The market conditions are pro-crypto, so you need to be in that manner. So I think it's interesting. I think we'll go much. My point here is that I think we'll go much more green before we start seeing some real red again. It will be a while. Let's take a look at this. The Citadel. What is this? So this is. Let me see if I can zoom a little bit. Yeah. So the Citadel is basically it's a meme, right? It's somewhat of a prediction, but it's kind of real. So let's see what they have here. The year is 2028, so 4 years from now. of the second age. One Bitcoin is now worth $1 million. I believe that will be true, adjusted for inflation. And so we see the different levels of people that you have here. So like you have the no coiner. You have no Bitcoin in 2028. What are you doing? You're kind of trapped at that point. Then you have people with like $100 worth of Bitcoin, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, which is like nothing, right? It's not even like a 0.01. 0.01 is $10,000 if Bitcoin's at $1 million. 0.1 Bitcoin, 100,000. So this is what we talk about the power of holding just 0.1 Bitcoin. That could be $100,000 in really 4 to 6 years. I'm not joking. One BTC again, $1 million. And then you start going into the suicide stack. We do not encourage that at all, but we're gonna make it, right. Break it stack, the make it stack. We're talking, and then you see over here they have different levels: 5 Bitcoin, generational wealth, 10 Bitcoin. So if you get 10, that's my magic number. You find a way to get yourself into 10 Bitcoin over the next couple of years, one way or another, through business ventures or whatever it might be. I think you will set yourself up for life. I don't even think, like, you will set yourself up for life in the new digital financial system for sure. Dukes, 50 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin for the kings, and then you have like emperors, and then like the absolute rulers, the whale stacks up here. So 1,000 Bitcoin. Imagine having 1,000 Bitcoin. What is that? Imagine what 1,000 times a million is. Is that not a billion? Yeah, I think it's a billion. So you have this billionaire Bitcoin stack. So it's really interesting to see. I saw this for the first time in 2021, and it has not proven to be wrong just yet. So people really my whole point about this: if you're way down here, you're gonna be sad. You're gonna be sad in a couple of years, and there's not gonna be too much to. You're gonna learn how worthless the dollar actually is at a certain point. Because you will not be able to buy a whole bunch of Bitcoin. Like, okay, so $100 buys me 0.001. That's not life changing. You have $100 right now may be able to buy you quite a bit more, but that's what we're looking at. What's it say down here? A third of burgers, regular people, have less than 1,000 in savings. That's true now. That's true in 2028. Maybe we do something to change around our financial system, but if we continue at this rate, like, it's just people's money has been stolen by inflation for so long. It's just something that we have to. You got to get some Bitcoin, man. Like that's my overall point. But I don't really have too much more. Just take a look at Bitcoin. If I have any Bitcoin, crypto, whatever it may be, they're not one and the same. But you can learn about that in the Crypto Escape Velocity course in the boot camp that Pulse on Crypto has. We released that on November 11th. Go ahead and take a look. Check out Pulse on Crypto. Check out Chris Talks Crypto and any crypto-based resources. Go to christalkscrypto.com. All that information is there. And other than that, y'all, I hope y'all have a good December. I hope you finish the year strong, and I will see y'all on the moon. Take care. Bye-bye.